Welcome students to the series of lecture on fixed income. And in this series of lecture of fixed income, we are in discussion of calculating duration. In the last session, we introduced duration, and in this session, in duration, we'll try to derive the formula of duration. We'll try to derive the formula of duration of the bond. Okay, so we'll derive duration of the bond. Okay, in the last session, if you haven't watched the session, please watch the session. We introduced duration as in the definition of the duration, and we said that it is the sensitivity of the bond price with respect to interest rate. And the definition that we established was that it is an on an average percentage change in the bond price due to 1% change in the interest rate. Read this statement carefully because this statement is going to give you the formula for duration. First and most important part of the statement is on an average, not absolute percentage change in what? Bond price due to what? 1% change in interest rate. So you have to apply average. You have to find percentage change, not absolute change, due to 1% change in interest rate. And in the last session, I gave you an assignment to try and solve and find the bond duration where the bond characteristics that were provided was face value 1000, coupon 6%, coupon frequency, annual maturity 3-year, interest rate 7% in the market. And in this session, we'll use this bond and we'll try to find the bond duration. And in the process of finding the bond duration for this specific bond, we'll derive the formula for duration, which is written in your curriculum. Okay. Now, if this is my bond, we are getting started and we are trying to solve and find the bond duration for this specific bond. So please be focused now. We'll enter into mathematical calculation, numerical calculation. So be focused. First of all, this bond is the bond characteristics, and this is the market interest rate. The first step is to find what? The current price of the bond based on the market interest rate. Do we know the current price of the bond? No. When we'll calculate the price of the bond just in few seconds, let's say the price of the bond came to 960. Okay. We'll do the calculation on BA2 Plus Calculator. Then what we need to do? We need to find that what would be the bond price if I change the market interest rate by 1%. So I should be changing it to 8%, right? But is it only 8% or not 6%? Well, I'm not using just 8% or 6%. What is the problem? The problem is if I give shock of 1% to the interest rate in the downward direction and make it 6%, if I try to find out the bond price, say the bond price comes to say 900 and so it will come to 1000. We already know that. So it'll come to 1000, right? So you can see that the increase in the bond price is of what? $40. Initially, the bond price at 7% interest rate was $40. Now, when you try to find out the new price, say P1, for the increase in interest rate, the new price would be 940. What is the change? The change is only of $20. Why is it that? Because we have already discussed in the first session of the price yield relationship that the price and the interest rate, the price of the bond and interest rate in the market has inverse and a convex relationship. And there we got to know that the rise in the bond price is always greater than the fall in the bond price. And therefore the rise is of 40 and the fall is of 20. So we are talking about change in the bond price due to 1% change in interest rate, but which one, 40 or 20? Which I should use in the calculation of duration, 40 or 20? It is already, the answer to this question is already written in the definition of duration. It says that you take the average. So you have to do 40 plus 20 divided by 2. It will give you the answer 30. But 30 is what? 30 is what? 30 is on an average absolute change in the bond price. So to find the percentage change in the bond price, what you will do? You will divide with the initial price. That is 960 into 100 and that will give you the duration. And this is what we are going to follow in this step. See this step. It is saying first find the initial price, that is 960. Give shock to interest rate in both the direction, 1%, 1% in both the direction. Find the price due to increase in interest rate, that is P1. We are calling it as 940 because increase in interest rate will lead to what? Bond price falling. Find the price due to decrease in interest rate, P2. Okay, find the change P naught minus P1. Find the change due to interest rate falling, P2 minus P naught. Take the average of the change, but it is the percentage change in the price, so you have to divide by P naught. So we'll follow the same step diligently now. Okay, but I will not take 1%. I will not take 1%. I'll take 0.5%, just to explain you something. Because we are deriving the formula. You already got the intuition. You already got the intuition of these steps. I know you're clear. But to tell you something about the formula, I'm taking the shock size, not 1%, but 0.5%. Okay. So let's follow the step. Find the initial price at the current interest rate, which is 7%. We have to use BA2 Plus Calculator. Second clear work, second clear TVM 1000 is what? FV, PMT is 60, I by Y is 7%, N is 3, compute PV. 973.756. 973.756. 973.756 is the initial price of the bond. Okay. Give this shock to the interest rate, which is 7% in both the direction. Now, generally, you should take a shock of 1%, but I will take a shock of 0.5%. So I'll make the interest rate 7.5% and 6.5%. Okay. And we'll calculate the new price. So find the price due to increase in interest rate. So increase in interest rate is 7.5. So in the BA2 plus calculator, I just have to change what? The interest rate, compute PV, 960.99. 960.99. So P1 is 960.99. And see, interest rate is increasing. We expected the price to decrease. It decreased to 960.99 from 973.756. Okay, find the price due to increase in interest rate. And my shock size is not 1%, zero point 0.5. So I have to use 6.5%. So 6.5, I by Y compute PV, 986.75. 986.75. 986.75 is the new bond price for the interest rate of 6.5%. Now I have to calculate the change, and our expectation is that the rise in the bond price should be greater than the fall of the bond price for the same level of change in interest rate due to the convex nature of the price yield curve. We discussed this in the price yield relationship, the first session on the price yield relationship. So let's do P naught minus P1. 973.756 is my P naught minus P1, that is 960.99. Basically, I'm calculating the change. So it is, let's to use, okay, what is the value? Let me use the BA2 plus calculator here. So the value is 973.756 minus 960.99. So the change is of 12.766. P2 minus P naught. P2 is how much? P2 is 986.75 minus P naught, that is 973.756. Change from the initial price. So 986.75 minus 973.756, the value would be 12.99. That was the expectation. The rise in the bond price should be greater than the fall, even by small amount, but it should be, and that happened. And that's why we love the convex nature of the price yield curve, because the rise in the bond price will always be greater than the fall of the bond price. Because think from the perspective of the investor, we always want an asset which always rises more than the fall for the same level of change in the factor. Okay, because the rise and fall are different, we have to take what? Average to find out the average change in the bond price due to 0.5% change in the interest rate. So we'll take the average, that is P2 minus P naught plus P naught minus P1. So I'm taking 12.766 plus 12.99 upon 2. So 12.766 divided by 2, it is giving me 12.88. Now, we're also deriving the formula. So see what we are doing. P2 minus P naught, the change in the bond price due to fall in interest rate, plus P naught minus P1, change in the bond price due to increase in interest rate. When you sum it up, this will get cancelled, and what you are left with, P2 minus P1 upon 2. Till now you have done P2 minus P1 upon 2. So you don't have to use P naught. You can directly do P2 minus P1 upon 2 and you will find the value 12.88. Okay. Is this 12.88 is the percentage change in the bond price? No, it is not the percentage change in the bond price. To do the percentage change in the bond price, I have to divide it by the initial price. So you are doing P2 minus P1 upon 2P0. So let's do 12.88 divided by the initial price, that is 973.756. 973.756. The value is 0. The value that you're getting is 0.01322. And because you have to calculate the percentage, you will multiply with 100. So see what you're doing, multiplying it with 100. So I'm also multiplying with 100. So the duration is coming as 1.322. But this is not actual duration. Why it is not actual duration? Because you have calculated this for 1% or 0.5%. This you calculated for 0.5%, but the duration definition says that the bond price change due to 1% change in interest rate. Let's use unitary method. So if for 0.5, the duration is 1.322, then for 1 is, it should be 1.322 upon 0.5. I'll do the same and I'll get the duration as 2.645. So what you did, you divided by delta y. That's what is written in this formula. The formula of the duration which is written in your curriculum is P2 minus P1 upon 2P0 del y into 100. That is the formula that is written. But what is that formula? That formula is simply saying calculate on an average percentage change in the bond price. This section is on an average. This section will lead to percentage change in the bond price due to 1% change in interest rate. That's why you divide by delta y. If I would have taken 1%, you wouldn't have understood why delta y is in the formula in your book, right? And that's why I deliberately took 0.5 as a percentage change. So what is the duration formula? The duration final formula is P2 minus P1 upon 2P0 del y into 100. And that is what is written in every curriculum. Okay. Now, we can also do this. We could have directly use 1%, right? We could have directly use 1%. Interest rate is 7%. You will change it to 6% and 8%, and that is the assignment. Try to find out the duration if you give the shock by 1% and give the shock by 2%. And see whether you will find the duration that is equal to 2.645 or not. Okay? Perfect. So follow the same steps. Step number 1, find the initial price. Step number 2, give the shock of 1%. Step number 3, find the new price for the rise and the fall. Step number 5, find the change. Step number 6, find the change. Step number 7, take the average and then calculate the percentage change in the bond price. And if necessary, apply the unitary method to find the percentage change in the bond price due to 1%, not 0.5% or 2%, 1%. Okay, so this is your assignment. Yes, in the next session, we'll deep dive into the concepts of duration and you will find a lot of issues. Even if you solve this 2 question, you will find you're not getting the same duration. Why? And that is the issue with the duration. There are a lot of issues with the duration. Okay, so we'll deep dive into that in the coming session. We'll try to understand duration in depth. Okay, because there is very important disclaimer. The disclaimer is there because I had a conversation with a lot of students on Saturdays, and they have this intuition that just watching these building block videos will help you to crack the examination. And there is no need to enroll for serious preparation for any institute. No, that's not the case. See, these building blocks I am creating to help those students who just want to understand that whether they are capable of understanding the complex concepts or not. For the preparation of CFA or preparation of FRM, you definitely need to enroll seriously in some of the institute and need to follow the preparation schedule as they suggest. Okay. Currently, I'm just uploading the video, that's fine, but you need to enroll somewhere. For example, even in SOFA, every video is in the fixed income. In our preparatory courses, every session is about 3 to 4 hours lengthy session. The reason for the session to be lengthy because you have to understand the story. You need to understand the nuances of the examination. Currently, these building blocks, which I am creating on YouTube channel, will help you to build the concept. But this is not going to guarantee the preparation. It is not going to give you the guarantee about FRM or CFA preparation. Okay, so this is a disclaimer. So if you're really preparing for FRM or if you're really preparing for CFA, you must enroll in the institute. The institute could be SOFA or anybody, but do check the demo videos before enrolling any institute. With that, I will pause. Thank you. Have a nice day.